Hello everyone, welcome back to the fabrication shop. In this episode we're going to be doing two things. We're going to be marking our body tube for where the launch lug will eventually be glued on, and we're also going to be building our engine mount. We're going to start with marking our body tube. Now to do this we're only going to need a couple things. Obviously we need our body tube. We're also going to need our pencil so we have something to mark with. The instruction sheet shows using a door frame to mark the body tube, and you can definitely do that. What I've got here today is a marking guide that's put out by Estes that will do the same thing. You can also use something like a piece of 90-degree aluminum angle. This will also do the exact same thing. All we're trying to do is get a line down the body tube that is straight. And any kind of angled instrument, such as this marking guide, the inside of a door frame, a piece of angled aluminum, all of those will do exactly what we're trying to do here. Now, according to the instruction sheet, what we want to do is mark between the two fin openings. And basically this is going to be exactly opposite the other fin opening. So what we'll do is, and we can just eyeball this, it doesn't have to be exact. We'll make our mark. And now we set our marking guide and bring it right up to our mark. Hold it in place, which sometimes can be the trickiest part. And now we simply draw our line all the way down. And that's all there is to it. The next thing we're going to do now is we're going to go and start putting our motor mount together. Now in order to do this you're going to need a few things. From the kit you're going to need the centering rings, the engine mount tube, the engine holder, the holder strap down, and the engine block. Now you're also going to need some tools with this, including your hobby knife, a pencil, a ruler, and then you're also going to need some glue. We're using wood glue here, along with either a stick or a couple toothpicks to apply the glue to the engine mount. Now the first thing we're going to need to do is cut out our centering rings. Now these have been laser cut just like the fins. And so again, we see just little tabs that we need to cut through. And these, once they're cut through, we can remove the centering rings from the card. So there's the first one. And there's our second one. With the centering rings cut out, the next thing we need to do is measure the engine mount tube. This is going to show us where our centering rings go and where our engine hook enters the motor mount tube. If you look on the instructions, it gives you very specific dimensions on where to make your marks. Part of the reason for this is this rocket uses through the wall fin mounting. What that means is that the fin will go through the body tube and attach itself to the engine mount. So we need to make sure that we have our centering rings in the right location. Otherwise, this fin will not fit in and go down snug against the engine mount tube. So according to the instructions, Our first mark is going to be at a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeters. Now, if you notice, I'm putting my ruler at the 1 inch mark. And then I'll mark 1/2 inch, 1 inch, which is the 2 inch mark, and 2 1/4, which will come out to the 3 1/4 inch mark. The reason I start at the 1 inch mark as opposed to the very edge of the ruler is that over time, your rulers, they get beat up. And so if you start down here at the bottom, you may not get a true measurement. If I start at the 1 inch mark and work my way forward, I know my measurements will be accurate. Now, some rulers will actually give a little extra down at the bottom before they start their markings. If you have that type of ruler, that works just fine. That's when you can really start at the 0 point. But if you have a ruler like this where the end of the ruler is the 0 mark, go ahead and start at the 1 inch mark, and I think you'll find that your measurements are much more accurate. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the opening for the engine hook. Please do not put your finger inside the tube. You can put the engine block in. It doesn't have to be right up against it. Put it in close so you got something to push against and make your cut. Doesn't have to be big, just big enough for the engine hook to fit in. Now that we have that in place, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this over top of the engine hook. Come from the top part of the mount down to the 1 inch mark. So it'll be just like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this all the way around. Pull it off and make some X's in here because this is where my glue is going to go. So I'll put some glue on my file card, scrap paper, whatever you want to use. Now I'll take this little wooden dowel and I'm going to use it to apply the glue all the way around the engine mount tube. Now as I do this, you might notice that I start the glue up near the top line and I leave a little bit of a gap down at the bottom. And the reason for that is the ring is going to come in from the top. And so as the ring comes around, it's going to push this glue down towards the bottom. And that will push glue into that area where I don't have any right now. So with the glue wrapped around the engine mount, we go ahead, put our engine hook in. Now we bring our sleeve in. And you can see we have just a little bit of glue around the bottom edge, which is fine. We're going to take our finger and just wrap it around. This is the same way you would do fillets on your fins. So now you can see we've got the strap on, we've got the engine hook in place, and now we're ready to put the engine block in place. Okay, now that we have the hold down strap on, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and glue the engine block. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our stick again, put some glue on the end, and stick it down inside the tube where the engine block goes. We take our engine block and we push it in until it hits the hold down. And then what I like to do is come back and run a bead of glue around the top to reinforce this, because this is going to get a lot of pressure put on it. Every time your motor ignites, this ring is going to feel the full force of that thrust up against it. And then I'll just take my finger and smooth it out. Okay, so we can see that our glue has dried on the engine block. So we can remove it from the mount. And now it's time to go ahead and put on the centering rings. So we're going to start with this one back here. If you notice, your centering rings, although they're similar, they're not exactly the same. This one here has a notch, this one doesn't. The one that has the notch is the one that is going to go over the engine hook. You always want to test fit your parts before you put them together and make sure everything lines up exactly the way you expect it to. And here you can see why I've put the lines all the way around. It gives me something to line up on and to make sure that we're centered. I can also move the engine hook and it moves freely. So now that I have my centering ring where I want it, I'm going to go ahead, put some glue on here like we did before. And now I'm going to take my little stick and I'm going to start putting glue around the centering ring. We've allowed the fillets to dry, and you can see that they're completely dry. So the next thing we need to do is run fillets around the opposite side. So to do that, just like we did before, put some glue on our card. Get our stick and simply put the glue around just like before. And then taking a wet finger, we simply slide it around, smooth it out. So there's one. We'll use our little stand to hold it. So we'll let all of this dry completely. In our next episode, we'll continue on with the mounting of the engine mount into the body tube, as well as mounting the fins onto the rocket using the through-the-wall fin mounting. So if you've enjoyed this, we encourage you to hit the like button. If you'd like to see other videos like this, subscribe to our channel. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified the next time we drop a new video. And so until next time, wishing you all the best and take care.